Hello, welcome to this reading. I'm going to be reading the energy and we're going to be talking about love. Brought out this deck, Journey of Love, by Alana Fairchild, Rasuli, and Richard Cohn. And we have an energy deck as well. And it's by Sandra Ann Taylor. Super cool, super cool. Got the Rider-Waite deck, the popular tarot deck. You'll need get that popularity in there. And then we have Dream Decoder deck. I don't know who's it by, but runningpress.com is. Now that's interesting that there's not someone specific for that. I did not know that. So that's going to be very interesting. We're actually starting off. I don't know why. I never really know why. You're right there. Keep looking here because usually I film here, but now we're filming here. So, hello. All right, I don't know why though, but we're gonna go to dreams. It is interesting how quickly change happens when you subconsciously shift your state of existence in the moment. And that is super interesting in way of optimistic and pessimistic points of view of yourself. And also what entails is the thoughts that would come into play, your beliefs as well, the way you feel worthy in the moment, the way you feel in the moment too. It's something really interesting in terms of the balance, subconscious and conscious, and feelings. And then it's like, oh my God, there's butterfly too. Beautiful butterfly. Oh my gosh, it reminds me, okay, of Fruit Baskets, okay, anime, and it's beautiful, volume 16. It's really like, it's a really interesting love story. There you are. It's a really interesting love story, okay? And the love story is, it's this gal who grew up and it was a really rough situation. She ends up being like a leader in a gang called, I think her title is Bloody Butterfly is her name. And it's like she meets someone who's older who guides her to be a lot more mature in turn, where they fall in love. And it's something where she herself experiences motherhood, okay? But it's something where the person, her love interest, dies, and she has to raise her child where she has all the toughness. The love, though, softened her up. And even though she was like left where her person like died, if you will, the memories last forever. And that's what's being emphasized, is to keep trying out with gratitude. Make out with it. Create a baby with gratitude, okay? Get it so into you, you literally create a baby with it. And you're like, what? Yeah, you're birthing yourself, okay? You're your own mother this time. And you're birthing into a way more grateful state of existence that doesn't stray, if you will, doesn't latch on an identity in the now of the misery of the past and way of your state of existence back then. This is all about seeing you in a whole new shift where because she, like, in the story, like, she relied a lot on her partner to feel good about herself and her decisions. And so you're being asked to feel good about you and your decisions as to how you're leading yourself down in way of connecting with others in the form of love. Having dreams about eagles in flight symbolizes pride, ambition, and victory. The eagle may represent a lack of compromise or something in your life that is making you feel less powerful or in control. This is definitely about perspective of yourself, where everyone has the advantage of having a higher perspective. It's really interesting where you yourself subjugate, if you will, how other people are respecting your own presence, and you allow yourself to give however much you want of your own truthful presence. It's something where you're separating in way of caring about outside of you more than within you in your own state of existence. So if it's chaotic outside, it's something about separating so you find peace within who you are. Mind, body, soul, spirit, all that shenanigans that we're just a lovely little cookie. We might crumble, but we still delicious. That's what it is, all right? You crumbling, but don't forget, you're a cookie. Cookies are supposed to crumble. We as human beings have to see we're getting ourselves, like you yourself, are getting yourself out of a very tough situation. And it's you helping yourself through this, where before things in the way of outside started to make within so much more difficult, where it was harder for you to even see yourself. But this very beautiful thing is you're releasing the way of trying to control outside, and you're allowing yourself to be within in way of stillness and peace. And this is really interesting, Kay. Forgiveness. Oh my gosh, I'm getting into this really cool book. I don't know where to put it, to be honest. We'll get there, okay? We'll get there. I'll totally do a show and tell of my books, because yes, if like once, I love books, okay? I started with my healing journey. It took me forever to actually get into books. High key, low key, I'm a comic book reader, okay? If you see me with the newspaper, it's the Sunday comics probably, and the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I am all for comics. The other stuff in way of words is boring as heck for me, okay? But it took me forever to get to this point of like books. I am at a point though where I'm like, you most likely will see me with a book more than with my phone, where I barely spend time on my phone. I know it's like, how though? Because you're like on social media putting out content and everything. And I don't know how else to say it, guys, but with social media and me, it's a downward spiral when it comes to my insecurities, okay? So I take a step back off of social media when I have identity crisis. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, no. And then I go to more so books and everything. And I also go to like the cards, and I, make videos, because it's not like, when I make videos, it's not to like stir up any more trouble. It's this thing where you forgive in a way where you think you're in trouble in the way of how you see yourself through these videos. It's something to help you see that you and me and all of us, we're all going through this in way of identity crisis. And this whole cool thing is it's just within in a way of crisis. And when you get yourself to be like, okay, we're gonna reorganize, we're gonna optimize by forgiving, a lot of friction in way of fables. You remember those? Yeah, the tall tales and ways of the test of time as to people's characters. And it's something about you yourself for getting to know your character in the way of test of time, and how you stand in way of for yourself, in the way of truth, in the way where you really are someone who is very, okay, I don't know how else to say it, but like you have some decent boundaries around how you have the outside influence you in the way of how you see yourself, and how you set in the future your goals and dreams. Like it's something very interesting in way of the eagle. Like I haven't really been able to move forward because I'm just so fascinated with, I don't know how you got there, but you got there. And it's something where when you allow yourself to kind of backtrack a little bit, I'm kind of getting around COVID when we all hibernated indoors. We were all like bears, y'all. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and it's still happening too. Okay, it's still around too. And the after effects, the aftershock, where we all sat within ourselves and we saw ourselves in ways where it might be a bit lacking in different ways, and you had to go back out and get in a way of society, a way of being with others, where now it's like weird of how to connect with yourself within. Because also, I believe TikTok was getting a lot more popular and catching on in way of this as well. And it's something where there's a really interesting link I'm getting. Now, this is for you to pick up, okay? If it's not for you, don't pick it up. But identity crisis, social media, feeling FOMO, fear of missing out, and then also wanting to YOLO. YOLO. Man, I enunciate, okay? And it's very like, bear with me, okay? Bear with me. But you only live once. Not yellow, YOLO, okay? But like, I totally get when like I say something and I'm like I just need to like move my mouth up and down. This is typically a positive sign in dreams, especially if you're running in a group or competing in a race. So this is something entail where you are shifting your perspective in turn of you don't need to go fast or do anything in way of literally this form of running. You yourself are shifting in way where life isn't a competition as to work. Life isn't a competition as to making money. Life isn't a competition as to whatever you have in the physical. Life is about honoring you in way of saying, man, I am so grateful. I have made the decisions I have that have led me to this moment right here, right now. I'm so grateful to be of existence right here, right now. I'm so grateful. Like, oh, I wish I could show you because it's such a cool butterfly. I'm gonna pass out, it's so big. It's so beautiful. It's something to do, okay, let me describe the butterfly. It's a really big butterfly. Like, my hands are pretty small. Okay, here's a water bottle. This is inside my hands, okay? I really think that if the butterfly spread its wings, it would be like this form. And it's yellow and black. If I find it, I'll try to post it on the thumbnail. But it's so beautiful. It's on a milkweed too. 1 second, everyone, 1 second. Where is that book? I have a book, you guys. Okay. Because it's super fascinating of like, as I do this, as I be speaking and filming, the butterflies so beautifully there. Yeah. All right, let me look up. I don't see it though. Okay, so it's on a milkweed and it's like a yellow butterfly with like blue maybe also. So beautiful. It's something where, and this also is like just a wild milkweed plant that has grown in like with my family, how I was raised rough. Like, but the connection with the land is really good. Like, my family is very into agriculture, into keeping with the natural connection way of the land. The whole other part of love, that's a whole nother story. But for you too, where it's like, even though it might be, I'm getting like with love, yes, there's rough parts. The most important thing is to remember to be in love with love, to be in love with life, to be in love with living life. To be able to experience and see just for yourself, where like this is your journey. And who you connect with, love, is going to be different. Where you yourself are going to realize as you go down this, it's something about how can you give back, I'm getting, when it comes to presenting to others the love that you have in way for the world. One second. I want to see if my mom's out there and let her know. But I have to be quiet because the butterfly could flutter away. I don't want to scare her. Okay, one second. Okay, my mother isn't out there. Dang it. It did though give me the idea. I finally, y'all, this is not for reading, just me like saying a little bit. But I finally got like my pool where I had it at like a friend's house. It's such a hot day that I'm going to try to set up the pool. I'll see if I can record also a video in the pool. Like, there's nothing more fun than being in the pool and recording a video. I be like trying to be like little Ariel, okay? Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun. Are you kidding me? Yes. Like where I'm from is, I would say the grass reminds me of the waves at the ocean. It's so far away. You know, I'm using literally grass to see that. Where, yeah, I'm not very close to the ocean, but within my heart, it's as big as the ocean. So that's kind of what I'm getting with really connecting with like your true love. Within your heart is this huge ocean, and you always have the choice and way of how you want things to flow. It's something where what you say in terms of words outside as to how you speak about yourself, and also like just your breath, period. It's that in of itself is you putting down your footprint of who you are, your impression of who you are in that moment. Door to spirit. So there's this thing I'm getting right now. You're like, okay, who am I though? In the moment. In turn, I'm getting with how you want to connect with your true love. The world, cornucopia, and deceit. Oof, okay. So there's something where you're looking outside of you in terms of who's going to make this happen, where you're going to be looking within you intuitively, being like, is this person? And you're like, no, it's not. Something though, breaking, if you will, bad habits and good habits in way of reforming. It's pretty hard because you can get in that self-critical judgment wheel of perception where you're like, I am lacking. In reality, you can always ask for help in way of seeing outside how you are benefiting in the now. Adjacent possibilities. Angels of balance, women holding a heart. So I'm getting that you yourself, okay, have a very beautiful way of guiding yourself in way of true love, where you're like with someone and it feels like you're in a movie. You're like, this is a Hallmark movie, right? And you're like, wait. If this is a Hallmark movie, am I the main character? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Outside of you, how you see outside of you, always envision that you're the main character. And there's something in turn of people trying to take over the story of who is the main character in the moment. It's something interesting. Okay, here it is. Growing up in different places in your life, you built different kind of resistance, if you will, in the way of how outside once was. And it's something about how you still get very insecure within yourself in a way where you believe yourself a different belief in way of a different perspective, a different impression than you in the moment where you would be in a different area. Okay, so what I'm getting is to allow yourself to really feel out yourself in the moment in different areas where you feel as though you're in the form of love. Here it is. This is going to help you understand if you're tied a little bit toxically. It's all good. It's this thing where I'm getting the toxicities from still envisioning yourself specifically as like your younger self, in the way where there's a lot more possibilities for you to get what you want in the now that will satisfy you in way of like evolving in way of the true love and everything, where it's you loving your life so much, y'all, that someone sees you like that and they're like, I want you forever. Appreciation. Now there's a very big bumblebee. Oh my gosh, are they? See, I just love to observe insects, like different, I don't know, species of insects, like butterflies and bumblebees, where they still will try to get close in way of the same kind of flower, where it's like the same kind of pollen. I'm getting it's something where we're going to be talking about right now, entering into, everyone has a certain objective when it comes to love. And it's something where when you get clear on your own objective and way of love, this will help you in a way where you can sort out in if it feels right for you, if it doesn't feel right for you at this time or maybe down the road. It's something where in the moment, if it doesn't feel right for you in way of it being loving towards you, where it's like comfortable, that is something to, it's like something about within you to, it's okay, it's like outside of you acting like moving forward in a new direction. I'm getting, allow yourself to like make camp, if you will, and like spend the night, if you will, and sleep throughout the night, wake up in the morning and set out forth on your journey, compared to at night keeping going on your journey and moving through the night where you'd be like finished with your destination. Makes so much sense. It makes me think, okay, let me tell you about my story of how this relates for me. Let's see, it's my second season doing seasonal work at Yellowstone National Park, and on my way back, was my second season? No, it was my first season. Okay, it was my first season. I'm like a first timer, seasonal work. If you don't know about it, I believe I have some videos earlier before I really started to do tarot readings and everything that you can check out. I believe I talked a little bit about it, but it's something where I was making my way towards Yellowstone, you know, single solo female traveler. It was so cool, so lit. You know, I ended up kind of driving throughout the night and making it to my like pad, if you will, my home in Yellowstone. And it was very interesting of like, there was one point it was like 2 a.m. And I was lost, and the GPS hilariously took me down some person's driveway, and it's like in it's like in Wyoming, you know what I mean, and there's not a lot of people around and everything, and I was so nervous, y'all. I was like, I don't know, and I don't believe I had any service too, I'm pretty sure, you know. And it really showed me how amazing for me my faith of it working out went through, where I made it to my stay safely. It was a very interesting thing though, in way of choices and how I handled myself, where it felt for me like when I was going through that, I was so proud of how I decided to move, because I don't know how I managed to think, but on like the maps on your like phone, if you ever do the GPS on your phone, you can like see, even if it's not connected, you can see the towns nearby. And so I used, if you will, like where I was, the road, and I like try to trace where I could get back on some kind of like highway, some kind of like main road, where it's kind of more of the very countryside, if you will. And it's not that anyone over there would be like suspicious, if you will, but it's something more so for me to get myself out of choosing to like, you know, drive throughout the night. And, you know, now I would see, okay, now I would just probably stay somewhere through the night and not drive through the night. It was a situation though that was given to me where I really am grateful that I like was there in way of thinking on your feet, and in turn of not like, it's not really love based, but it's something where I care for myself. I love myself. I want to protect myself, right? And so thinking on my feet, I was like, okay, how can I go about this where I'm not shouting out that I'm lost, if you will, but I'm like guiding myself intuitively, you know, using luckily the maps. If not, it would be, I have like paper maps too. Like, you know, it's very, very important though, I'm getting with this reading, protecting yourself in the way that how you handle yourself in the moment of any kind of crisis, any kind of conflict, in a way where it's not planned and it comes from outside of you, and it's someone else with a different direction in terms of the connection and way of love. The Hierophant. And you can see this, if you will, in turn of, it's like the whole thing where, in terms of the hush hush of what happens in the dark of the night at like 2 a.m. stuff, where like I, as a woman, solo female traveler, am not looking to want to go to any house, meet anybody at 2 a.m. I would rather be alone. I'd rather be with a bear than a man at that point, okay? And it's this knowing that the world is not always nice to people, and the world is not always loving in way of people. And I'm getting with the reading, it's something where with the fear that you get in way of traditions, and where people like to be hush hush in terms of love, where it's not love, it's that pain that comes from not understanding what you really love in that moment and what really matters. And it's this understanding that in that moment, loving yourself is the interesting liberation I'm getting, that can liberate you in the way of fear, where I could have decided to do different things, if you will. I'm so grateful I chose to do what I do in terms of deciding and moving forward, where it ended up being okay. It's something where it's like a hard lesson for me in a way where, you know, I might have gained some fear in ways of, oh boy, I did not realize no cell phone service. 2 a.m. Leah, we're going down someone's driveway. What are we doing? And I'm so grateful because hilariously enough, they had a sign saying this is not the road, like the GPS is wrong. So it's also something where other people were similar with me, where they might have gone up to the house at 2 a.m. and, you know, bothered whoever it is, you know what I mean? Where people do put out signs in ways of they don't want to be bothered for a reason. And I'm getting, it's something to do with you, where if there's a sign where you're like bothered in a way where someone wants to connect with you in love and you're like, I don't know about it, it's not to have your heart crumble where you don't want to hurt their feelings, okay? This is for them to realize that you're focused on other things when it comes to living life in the moment. And it's interesting of how when you're in that kind of way, it's like a form where it's like a rejection, but it's not anything other than egoic rejection in the moment. And it's also for you too, where if it's you like putting yourself out there in these different ways and you still haven't got that physical reciprocation, if you will, it's something also too where moving forward in way of a new person, a new connection is also very, very much so coming through. Strength. So definitely it's like something about what can help you get yourself to really truly, if you will, be smart about how you want to be loving life in the moment. Page of Swords, we have the 9 of Swords, and then we have Judgment, or excuse me, Temperance. So maybe Judgment is connected to Temperance, and we have Balance after or below Temperance. And if you want to know, okay, so with Temperance, this is really on, this is really on in the moment, y'all. How are you balancing what you're doing now in the now, acting that is filling up, nourishing your state of existence, okay? You can think of your state of existence as how you feel about yourself, how you believe in yourself, what it is that you can control in the moment. And it's in this form of a cup. And it's this thing where for balance to happen, you need 2 things to be like able to get it going. So it'd be 2 disruptive things, if you will, or not 2 disruptive things, but it'd be 2 things that would be separated. And I'm getting it's the outside of how you see people loving your existence, and then on the inside as to how you see yourself in of existence entirely, past, present, future. And that is really interesting because every single one of us defines what time is in way of how we feel satisfied in way of life, how we feel satisfied with interacting with life as well, where maybe your past self wanting you to be in a certain place right now, where you will be in the future. It's this thing, why it hasn't happened yet is you have to get somehow balanced somewhat with your past self in ways where, yes, it does matter in the past, but it doesn't matter in way of how you act now, in the now, if it's something where you want to change. The Knight of Wands. And then 10 of Wands, the Tower, and Justice. You want peace? Allow yourself to just be forgiven, okay? Of carrying 9 of these wands. There are other people Hilariously enough, in way of loving life, you don't need to love so much in way of outside, where within you is miserable. Allow yourself to just forgive in way where this is you maturing into you, your character, main character, and your story and your love life. And it's this thing where you have to get used to your role as the main character, where you define your role every single day. You present yourself as who you are in the main character now, into how you want to go about love and life, the Knight of Pentacles. So you're like, oof, I want to have fun with life. So you present it in a way where, okay, how can I have fun with life? And you act on that fun. 9 of Swords. So one thing is we can have too much fun. And we have to balance out in turn of the responsibility, in turn of how we got the privilege to have fun in the first place. So there is something about how you have really strengthened in different skill sets. And this is in a way where you are so much different in way of love, and you can make some interesting cash from it. And it's from your own knowledge, your own experience of loving life the way you do, and going out there and choosing, if you will, differently of how to love living life. And when you choose differently in way of how to love living life, it's something about that, because it's something where you're choosing to love people differently. Instead of looking at them with criticism, you're looking at them with compassion. And it's from you understanding your own difficulties, of your own criticisms, where you're like, I made a mistake. You're like, oh, you're like, I can never make up for it and everything. It's not that you have to make up the test or anything. The test is already there, where you're supposed to fail at tests to grow into who you are, where you will absolutely ace the test because it's for you, in a way where it's not for you to ever fail, period. This is for you to always know that you have the advantage to keep moving forward, understanding, studying yourself, getting to know you, getting to know your main character, where you yourself, you might think you're just a nobody, but you are somebody to me. You are somebody to someone else. You are someone like down here sees you up there. And it's from this, you're going to be able to see it a lot more in a way where you can look as to what you have grown on the physical in way of loving life outside. Give yourself a little like dance, a little shimmy. Shimmy. I really have never been able to shimmy my shoulders. I move my entire body when I shimmy. But props to people who shimmy, and I'm like, I can't take my eyes away. Whoa. I feel very honored right now. You're my Mona Lisa. Shimmy away. And that's what I'm getting is like, that's the shift, is like, it could be a little bit like embarrassing to put yourself out there in ways of like telling someone to keep shimmying on, but it's something where in that is encouraging in of itself. I love it. And it's like you telling life outside and we have appreciation, because that pops up. Where it's this thing where it's like, no, I appreciate how I am in the moment. Like, I appreciate how random I am in the moment, because that's the miracle of life, y'all. It's that random things and ways where you break the video up with the little break dance. Huh. Yeah, you see me roll on the ground? I broke that up. What did I break up? The staleness of like life forgetting to keep moving. Y'all don't forget, okay? How you want to be loving life, cool. But you gotta like move to keep doing it. You gotta learn a new groove. The Emperor's New Groove? Yeah. It's like exactly like that. And it's something where he ends up falling for someone. And she is like so whatever about him. And he's like, I love you more. Within nothing, there's everything. Man of the earth, woman of the sky. The balance between yin and yang. The balance between decision making. Hear me out. You can decide however you want to flow. But there's this very beautiful thing where in the moment and way of decision making, it's this whole pairing. Do you want to pair it to your identity in the moment? In a way where that's of existence until you decide, that's not who I am. This is who I am. That, if you will. That's in the moment of radical change, y'all. You realizing you're different than who they thought you were, who I thought you were, who you thought you were. You're so much different from the past version of you, where now it's your own new groove. All right, you present to me your new groove. And I present to you the cards. And they're like, what? And I'm like, what? And it's like this. And it works because that's how life is. You think chocolate chips got made because they're like chocolate chips? No. It was a mistake, if you will, that turned out to be a sensation, a national sound, a universal sound cookie. Chocolate chip. We're like, yum. Especially right out of the oven. Delicious. Well, not maybe right out because that would like burn your mouth. But like I would wait 5 minutes maybe. You could pop them in the freezer or the fridge, you know, cool them a little bit. You just don't want them to harden too much because that soft ooey gooey, that's what love's about. Someone literally please make some kind of like poster that says love is like biting into a soft ooey gooey cookie and you can take it and you enjoy it. Because sometimes, you know, you might have diabetes, you might not be able to take that much sugar, things happen where like in way of love, in way of how you love, how you want to connect, in way of the world outside of you, that gives you this kind of love. It's like this kind of romantic love, but it's not any one person. It's just your experience, y'all. It's just you. Tuning back to you. And hey, you can go back to whatever version you want and revive your version of self in the now, where yeah, you might be acting a little bit like childish here and there, but that's for you. And if other people want to be however they want to be, that's not for you. That's for you to forgive and go back to loving your life the way that you want to love life. We got soap. And we have feather. Let me see what these are. Birds of a feather, we should stick together. Dreaming about feathers signifies the arrival of a message, as well as inspiration or an inability to be able to freely, express yourself. A falling feather portends a small manageable burden. Yeah, it's just this thing where it's like And I just get it. It's like this weird, like, extra cap, like an extra hat. And it's like, okay, hear me out. But like, how your family connects in love is not how you need to connect in love. And I'm getting that's something to really integrate into your awareness of separation of what is the true reality of life. Especially if you're similar like me, growing up in a family that is like religious in some aspect. They have more closed-minded views of how life should be outside and way of controlled. Yeah, it's within your own self. Everyone in the family is different in ways where inside will be different. And inside is where you control in way of what's up in terms of what happens with your family, what happens with connecting with your family more than anything, and receiving, okay? This is what I'm getting, is receiving what you do from your family as to how it fills you with nourishment. I'm getting there's something about that in relation to soap. Having a dream about soap is a sign that you need a new beginning or a chance to start over. And so this is also you learning a way of loving your family differently. And I mean members of your family. You know, I don't know if there's one family that is literally sane that I know of. Mine and others. Especially of like masking, where you might meet people outside in way of your community. It's just that how it is that you interact with your community is also how your family interacted with you, hilariously enough. And how they wanted to include you in different things, maybe not, where it is their choice to include or exclude, especially in way of love. And I'm getting it's something where when it comes to how people understand outside, love is unconditional. And it's something where if you don't get it now, you will later. And it's something where you forgive what you do not get in connections, where you still feel like there is an importance in way of love. There is a reason in way of love for certain connections with, like, yes, your family is a very important connection. There is a lot of very important things to know about who you are in your main character energy, where think of main characters in like a TV show or like a movie. They have a childhood. Sometimes we're lucky as the viewer to know about their childhood, other times not. How though people want to see the main character now, sometimes people see them in way of what they know of their childhood. And they would like, if you will, could be similar for you, where this is also you allowing others to see the mature you now, where you separate now compared to interacting. I'm getting where you set firm boundaries, if you will, that allow you to be comfortable getting to know yourself in a safe way, loving life, where you like see yourself in a safe way, loving life. We have pearls. Wearing pearls in a dream represents good fortune in business, trade, and social affairs. So this will help you in way of reconnecting or connecting with your community differently. Especially if you're loving your life, you're gonna really connect differently with the community. It's something where you might even be doing different things within your community differently, like joining different groups, if you will. You're switching up your whole connection with your community. I'm getting If you receive them as a gift in a dream, it is a symbol of good fortune in love. So like, you heard it here. So really though, it's like, yes, you suffered, all right? You're strong now, you're resilient now in ways where intuitively it's like, do you really need to allow yourself to care so much about life where it's not in the way of loving you in life? It's more so focused on outside of you, of like really annoyances, if you will, or like whatever. It's that kind of thing where eventually you're going to understand that those annoyances are not for you to get worked up over. It's something about how it allows you to understand. I'm getting, it's like, yeah, it's something about how would I put it? People are confident in so many different ways. In the way that you're confident, I'm getting with this entail is like you're confident in way of how you see others and how you assess within your mind, and you reorganize and reassess as to not matching with outside chaos, but to separate in way of the chaos, where you're like shifting in way of your perception of yourself. And instead of people trying to manipulate you in a way where they're like, oh, I'm really loving your experience in the moment, you like feel it in your body, okay? This is just forgiving in ways where you're giving control, if you will, to outside of you in way of caring, in way of loving outside where you don't love that. What you love is yourself at peace within, in way where how you see outside is enjoyable. So you're like definitely a move that bus, okay? Extreme home makeover Marie Kondo style in way of love. And definitely in way of like your family too, okay? Like maybe generational karmic curse breakers. Like, yeah, you fix the breaker in way where things are running really smoothly. Oh yes. In dreams, a house is the dwelling place of the soul, and its condition corresponds to your emotional state. For example, to dream about closed doors or infestations indicate problems to be solved. Also, the video might cut out, but if it doesn't, I have 3 more cards. We have Queen, Gift, and Needle. And then I'm gonna close up the video. Let's do it. Queen, appearance of a queen in a dream means successful ventures, but be wary. She can be generous or be jealous and destructive. This is why when it comes to connecting with outside of you, if it doesn't feel good for you in way of main character energy, admiring you, appreciating you, allowing yourself to forgive it in way of jealousy and destructive is what you be given if you do care about outside of you in that kind of way. Where like outside of you needs to get a grip and get back to their own reality of within them own selves, that they're jealous and envious in way of how you be presented as a queen, how you be presented as a king, royalty, baby. All right, we have gift. These items in dreams reflect feelings about receiving special treatment or feeling like you are seen as special to someone. This symbol can also represent keeping secrets or talents being misused. And then we have Needle. The meaning of a needle in a dream can be tricky. If a sewing needle, it represents aspects of yourself or a situation that you need to mend. A needle that is part of a shot or an injection may reflect feelings of being influenced by someone else. So yes, this is the video. Allow yourself to guide yourself down the path in a way where you are loving yourself. You are able to see yourself, and you are able to feel as though you are a lot more in control. Where like you'll look next month back at this point of yourself, and you're gonna see so much of moving different, like turning yourself this way, that way, like a kind of Tetris, if you will, to like get all of those pieces to fit beautifully. And it's something where outside of you is always trying to remind you that you're in control, if you will, with how you choose to connect. And that in of itself is a miracle for me personally, when I'm trying to change my entire life from pessimism to optimism, is trying to connect differently, if you will, with outside. Yeah, so that's gonna be the video. That's gonna be the reading. I appreciate your presence with me. I hope that this has helped guide you to seeing yourself in a way of loving your life so much more. Know you're important. You're here for a reason. And I hope I can help remind you of it, if you will. Goodbye.